Welcome to the Inspired Family Leader Program with Samuel A. Bakutana, your host, a certified executive coach, an award-winning leadership consultant, a global speaker and author, the CEO of Inspired Leaders International, an international leadership development firm that empowers leaders to transform nations, and the provincial president of the Fathers Union in Uganda. What a joy to have you here today, tuned in to the Inspired Family Leader Program, a program that seeks to equip, challenge, and empower men to expand their family leadership capacity for national transformation. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are watching us from around the world. Today we have a critical topic we are dealing with, which is about being able as a man, but even you as a woman who is watching us, being able to parent the heart of your child. And to take us through this kind of a conversation is none other than a fellow father, a friend of mine, a husband like me, a leader, a great man who is here to equip us by sharing with us his own story and his own journey and his own experiences, none other than Mr. Jimrex Byamugisha. My brother, good to see you today.
Wow, wonderful. And
is all well?
What a wonderful introduction. I like that.
Thank you. You're very welcome to this program.
It's a very wonderful joy. And I'm very glad to be here.
Yeah. It's been quite some time that I've been looking forward to hosting you on this program. I'm glad finally it has happened.
Sure.
This morning I was listening to a certain song with my wife early morning, and the song was saying, see what the Lord has done, what we waited for has now come to pass, see what the Lord has done. So I think it's quite contextual even for this evening.
That is very true.
Yeah,
very
all has
true.
been well?
All has been well.
Yes.
Yeah,
if you don't mind, go right ahead, look into that camera and introduce yourself to the people who are viewing.
Yes, thank you. Once again, I'm Jimrex Byamugisha. I do fellowship at St. Francis Chapel, Makerere, and I also work in the School of Statistics and Planning, Makerere University. That's where I have been teaching for such a long time. And I've been on many pulpits all over the country, even outside the country. But all this is just because of God's grace. Married to Jovawin Byamugisha, and God has blessed us with 3 nations. And I don't want to normally call them children, I call them nations. Because each single child is actually a nation. And I happen to have come with one of them.
One nation.
Yes, one nation who is here, and he will be introducing himself.
Yes.
I remember was Atamba Owemigisha, who is followed by Ayebare Nyinemigisha Nkunda Nyonyozi, and the smallest nation is Ayebaziwe Ampirimigisha. Married, 30th May we celebrated 25 years.
30th May, 25 years in marriage.
Yeah.
Well done. In fact, this could be the right time for Atamba to come and say hi, to introduce himself to our audience. So let me request him to come and just stand here where between daddy and I, between two fathers, so that he taps into the anointing of fatherhood.
Yes, he starts today.
Yes.
To be and look like a father.
You know, why not? You're very welcome.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm okay.
As smart as daddy, eh? the apple doesn't fall far away from the tree. Please go ahead, just come a little bit closer and introduce yourself.
My name is Ainembabazi Atamba. I am a student at Makerere, doing law. And as my father said, I am the First Nation. So please enjoy yourselves.
Yeah.
You know, the word of God is very, very, very strong, and I hope it inspires all of you. Thank you.
Why did you, let me provoke you a little bit, Atamba. Why did you choose to study law?
Well, you see, there's a lot of injustice around the world, and it is, you know, they like Daddy says, actually Mommy, actually, she's the one who says that whenever you visit a person, make sure that you leave the place better than you found it. So that I think was the driving force for me to do law.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that I leave the world a better place
Yes.
than I found it.
Interesting.
So that, you know, when I die,
Yeah.
they're like, hey, Atamba did this.
Yes.
Exactly.
I remember Bishop Muhima Edward, doctor, used to say something very phenomenal that is related to what you've just said. He used to go around asking and saying, now that you are still alive, how will those who will still be alive long after you have gone know that there once was a man called you? You know, he used to say it again and again, that now that you're alive, how will those people who will still be alive long when you are gone know that you once lived? So that's a critical thing, to know that you want to leave a legacy of leaving things better than you find them. So I wish you well in your studies, Atamba.
Thank you very much.
Actually,
Yes.
before he goes, when
Yes.
he was still in, I think, P1 or P2, he said, I want to do law, and I will be the Chief Justice so that I can fight corruption. And while in high school, I tried to convince him to do mathematics. He said, Daddy, no, I want to do literature
Yes.
because I want to do law. So here he is.
Here he is.
Yeah.
Wishing you well, Atamba.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for coming with Daddy. Yes. So, going to the topic of the day, which is parenting your child's heart. Truly, what is parenting? Very briefly, what is parenting? Then we hit the...
Okay, wonderful. Parenting, I want to tell you, dear friends, that it is not a one-off. It is a process.
So parenting is a process.
It is a process.
A process of doing what?
You are having the little child right planted into the mother's womb. You start. That's why they say such a child has the ears to hear.
Yes.
Play wonderful music, the child will be born when he's
Yes.
happy. Stress the mother.
Yes.
Most likely that child will be born with deformities. Okay? So, taking good care of the mother who is pregnant is part and parcel of the journey.
Okay.
The moment the child is born, then now you are into in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea.
Yes.
You have to swim the waters.
Yeah.
To know how to control the temperature of a child in case the temperature rises in the middle of the night. We learned all of that.
How to deal with the colic. Is it called colic?
Exactly. You can't get the wet cloth and you just put it on the head. You must first of all put it between your thighs, then you start with the legs, and then later on in the chest, and then later on the head.
So parenting
So
is
it
a process.
And you take 100% of every aspect of the need of the child with the utmost goal of raising a responsible citizen.
So I could as well summarize it and say parenting is a process of raising responsible citizens.
Exactly.
Okay. So today we are talking about parenting the heart of your child. What exactly does it mean to parent the heart of a child?
To parent the heart of the child comes from the one simple fact. What is the problem of the heart? The problem of the heart is the heart. You know? The problem of the heart
that
is
sounds
the heart.
very philosophical.
Yes. That is what the Bible tells us in Proverbs chapter 4 verse 23. He says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything flows from it.
Yeah.
Everything. When
So
they
the
say
heart of the
everything,
matter is the matter of the heart.
exactly. Everything flows from the heart. You get the heart wrong, you get every equation wrong.
Yes.
That's why we normally say that a person produces the body, does not produce the heart. But I want to say,
Wow, that's a
the
profound
person-
statement.
Yes.
A person produces the body but does not produce the heart.
Yes.
In other
The
words, when
heart
you
is
produce your
molded.
child, you only produce the body
The
of the
body.
child, but you have not.
the heart is molded. You mold
Wow.
the heart.
We give birth to the body, we mold and
We
shape the
mold
heart
and shape
in
the
that
heart.
body.
Because once the heart is well molded, then the body becomes beautiful.
Wow. So, In a way, you have answered the question I'm about to ask, but I would like you to shed more light on it. We are saying parenting the heart of the child. Why particularly are we singling out the heart and neglecting the head, the hand? Because in education, they talk about, I think that was Bloom's taxonomy of 1956, where he talked about a holistic education. A wholesome person is one who has been educated in the cognitive domain, the psychomotor domain, and the affective domain. In other words, he has information, he has skills, and he has the values and attitudes around which his life rotates. In other words, it's the education of the head, the hand, and the heart.
Yes.
But now you're singling out the heart. So why single out the heart and neglect the head?
That's
and
why
the heart?
today you have an engineer who will know on how he can twist the things and eat a third of the rod and give you 2/3 of the rod. You get into the judicial system, somebody knows how to write a judgment without being caught, and then those who don't have the money are never winning any case. Why? Because the intellectual capacity is there.
The head is filled with information.
The skill is there on how to write a beautiful judgment, but the heart which gives you the values is rotten.
Okay.
So that's why if this heart is well done, the LC1 chairperson who has
the local council one,
yes, who has never attended any law school will give a judgment that will hold water. And yet somebody with a PhD with no values will give a judgment that will bring confusion.
Yes. So that's why the heart is at the center.
Is at the center.
Interestingly, now that you say this, you are making me more curious. Because interestingly, when you look around and you see the education system that we have, not just here in our country, Uganda, but in many other different countries, you realize that the emphasis is put on academic, prowess.
Yes.
Being an academic giant, having great information. Even when it comes to not only the pedagogical things about the teaching, but also the assessment, the examinations, what is being examined is the ability to memorize and reproduce what you've memorized.
Exactly.
And if they add something, it has something to do with the skill, knowing how to. But so little is given to the matters of the heart.
Yes.
The matters of transformation of a human being. The matters of, the having a positive attitude, being a person of integrity, character, values. So where is our hope now that our education system is focusing on the head and the hand and not the heart?
And not the heart. Today, the most common thief steals chicken. But the most educated thief steals in billions. The petty thief in the village, you leave behind a panga without putting it, he steals it. Piece of soap, chicken. When he tries, TV. But you get
the educated thief.
Billions are gone.
And the irony.
Out of the billions, so many children have been turned into graves.
Yeah.
Because the medicine which was supposed to have catered for them, it was taken by one single person.
An educated thief.
An educated thief.
So an ignorant thief takes little. An educated thief kills an entire nation.
And once he has stolen, he has the money to bribe the system, and he remains untouched.
And he's now bribing another educated person.
Exactly.
Who is supposed to be dispensing justice, but is now dispensing injustice.
Exactly.
The irony is that the petty thief, the one who has stolen a small hen, is killed through mob justice.
Exactly.
The educated thief goes around driving a big car
when
free.
the police comes to arrest you, they shoot on sight for having stolen a goat. But the other one is actually guarded by the same police. Kadenge going ahead of you to go to office and forge things, and you are guarded by the same system.
Yes.
So education cannot take us far.
Especially a certain kind of education.
Yes.
So I think that's why the parents come in now.
Of the what? Yes, parenting becomes very critical because out of the parenting, we are able to have the transformation of the heart. And once the heart is transformed, I want to tell you the nation is transformed.
Is transformed. Now,
for the better.
Now that we are talking of parenting the heart of the child, can you look at a child and realize that this child's heart was not parented? Are there some signs? Maybe I should also add symptoms, signs and symptoms of a child whose heart has not been parented.
Today, we have adults who are supposed to be adults but still behaving as people who are still in teenagerhood.
So small children living in big bodies.
Big bodies. That's why you'll find somebody who is educated, who has money, you go back to the village and you get your neighbor's daughter who is younger than your own daughter and you sleep with her.
So that's one sign of a person whose heart was not parented.
Completely. No values.
The lack of values.
No values at all. The person who is supposed to be honorable is totally
dishonorable conduct.
Dishonorable. You know, you find somebody is a teacher. A teacher is basically a parent.
Indeed.
But the person whom you are supposed to be teaching, you give the books to go to, to take to your house. You find her there and you molest her. You know, what kind of a teacher are you there?
Immoral living.
You know? What kind of, So, now, in other words, when you look at the values that somebody is having, it takes you back. And that's why we normally have the question, where did this person grow up from?
Yes.
You know?
Because where somebody grows up from should impart certain values into their life. Yes.
Should.
So in the absence of those values, you get to know that this person's heart was not parented.
Completely. I mean, you just see how people drive.
Yeah.
You know?
Madness on the road.
The other day I was talking about how darkness can be expressed. Somebody drinks liquor and you just get into the vehicle and you start driving. You know, you knock this, knock the other one, knock this, knock that, you know, and in the morning you begin to see so and so has lost his life. You hear people crying, you know, simply because you went to drink.
Yes.
You know, to enjoy yourself.
Yeah, somebody killed
and
two.
Whom you are killing, you don't know. You have killed somebody's father. He has left behind orphans. He has left behind widows. He was supposed to be producing a document which was supposed to transform the country for you because you went to drink and then you just kill.
Because a heart that was not parented.
Exactly. Seek. That's what Jeremiah says. Seek beyond cure.
When he adds beyond cure, he dashes our hopes. We thought we would find some medicine.
Exactly.
Now, I'm wondering, how is this related to how we define success for our children? How is all this related to how we define? Because I'm thinking it must be having a relationship with this.
Now, let me tell you, once you define success wrongly, you drive your forces in a negative direction, and that will never take you to where the true destiny is supposed to be. Let me give you this statement. Once you have a parent, and your parent is aging, towards the end of his life, and he calls you for a discussion, I tell you, you must run. Because what he's going to give you is very critical. So when Moses was towards the last days of his life, he wrote the book, the Deuteronomy. Now let me give you the Deuteronomy chapter 6 verse 5. He says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength. Meaning that is something that was very critical. Very critical. And he is basically telling us that the greatest thing to do is to love. And he's challenging us to love the greatest of all, and that is God. Love God. And then he says, you must love him in the greatest way with all that you have.
That includes your strength, your mind, your heart.
Everything. The moment that is achieved, I tell you, all the things we are doing, do you know the opposite of love?
I would think it is hatred, maybe.
Excuse me. Hatred of love is selfishness.
The opposite of love is selfishness.
Yes, selfishness. Simple. Selfishness.
What if you love others? It's selfishness, but it is love.
Selfishness is the opposite of love. The moment you have been walking a journey of love with somebody only to find he was so selfish in everything, you really know there was no love. So why are people stealing? Why are people killing? Why are people, doing all these things they're doing? Selfishness. You get the medicine which was supposed to be treating 1,000 people, you pocket it all alone to go and put up a house, 10 bedrooms, when you are having 2 children.
So
and
does
then you
that
say,
have to
I
do...
cannot afford
Okay.
to cater for 10 children.
So does that have to do with the definition of success?
Exactly. You have said my success is money, and so you get money at whatever cost, irrespective of. But if our parents can teach us to love God with all our hearts, with all our strength, and you see your children walking in that line, I tell you, just go home and sleep comfortably.
You will call that total success?
Total.
But I didn't hear you talk about where they will sleep, what they will eat, what they will dress, how they will pay fees, how they will look after their children. Jesus said in Matthew chapter 6, seek first the kingdom of God, and all these shall be added unto you. Do you know? Basic needs and wants totally different. Wants are never satisfied. Needs easy to be satisfied. So people are running for wants and they will never be satisfied. They are like a grave. The grave will never always eating people.
Yes, it keeps on saying, give me more, give me more, give me more. So they kill and they do whatever.
So what I'm hearing in all this conversation, therefore, is that if we are to parent the heart of our children, it will begin with a redefinition of what success is, because we will be, when we make that redefinition, then we will be having a clearer direction towards which we should parent the heart of the child.
You have just stated it where in English they say in other words.
So let me ask,
correctly.
Jimrex, is it possible to lose the heart of your child?
Very, 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 very easy. Very easy to lose it. Very easy to lose it. You simply need to do things that will hurt the heart of the child, and then the child harbors bitterness.
Oh yeah.
And begins to doubt your love and commitment towards him. And that way, I want to tell you and to assure you, the heart of the child will be gone. Will be gone. And I can just give you very briefly a few areas through which parents, us as parents, we have lost the hearts of our children. Number one, our absence. If I may ask you, what is the spelling of love?
I would say the spelling of love is T-I-M-E.
Exactly. Time. What you love, you must create time for it.
Yeah.
So when parents
that was a tricky question, Jimrex. But you found me awake.
I tell you, that's why you are inspired.
The spelling of love is T-I-M-E.
T-I-M-E minus time, no love.
Wow.
That's a lie. And parents, we have been absent, totally absent in the lives of our children, telling them that the things which we do are more valuable and more important than them.
Could it be the reason why we get the child, leave him in the hands of a housemaid? but then our bag, we leave it in the bedroom and ensure we lock the bedroom.
Exactly.
So maybe the bag is more important than the child.
Exactly, the bag is more important.
Maybe you should actually lock inside the child and leave the bag with the maid.
Leave the bag with the
Not
maid.
vice versa.
Not exactly.
So
Yes.
absence is one way how we
Absence.
lose the heart of our children.
Completely. Because the child wakes up and doesn't see you.
Yes.
You know? He wakes up, you're
Yes.
already gone. He
Yes.
comes back from school, you're
Yes.
already gone. You are not the one taking the
Yeah.
child to
Yeah.
school. When he wants to tell you something, you are nowhere, you know. And when you are there and he wants to tell you, you are still busy. Now
Yeah,
that the
you-
phones have
you are on
come,
the phone
you are
and the
even
laptop,
busier with
you
the
are-
phone.
Yes.
So that's why the child would say, I wish I was a phone.
Because I think daddy would be looking at me all the time.
Exactly. The second one is for you to respond to the child when you are angry. You know?
Response during
Yes,
anger.
response during anger. You end up hurting the child, and the child will never forgive you. One day somebody sent me this message of with his wonderful car, and then the child comes with a nail and begins to scratch the car, writing, you know, and then the father comes out and finds the scratches and gets the hand of the child and beats it, you know,
Yes.
on the car, and the hand was totally smashed.
Oh,
Reaching
no.
the hospital, and they go through the x-ray, the bones were totally shattered. He goes back to the car and he finds the child had written, "Daddy, I love you."
So he had scratched the car
Yes.
to write there the words, Daddy, I love you. So the dad responded in anger because there were
anger.
scratches
On
before
his
even
car.
looking at the words that were being
Exactly.
put there by the child.
Exactly. So when Proverbs 27:4 says, "Anger is cruel and fury overwhelming," okay, overwhelming, okay. So when you want to respond in anger, you end up hurting the child.
Yeah, they say
And-
that that
yes.
anger makes a person bite a leper.
And if 1 Corinthians 13:5 says, "Love is not easily angered." So, anger is one thing that we need to guard as parents. Sober up, breathe in. If you are to punish, think about it. Give the child 2 canes when you are not angry. Otherwise, you will hit the child with a panga. And you say, "I was angry." That is, they say, anger eats up wisdom. When wisdom is eaten up, what is left?
Foolishness.
That's all. The other one is unjust discipline. You know, you just come and you simply start disciplining before you listen to the child. Give the child opportunity to explain, you listen, and then be able to see where the mistake is. Tell the child, this is the mistake you did, and because of this mistake, I am going to give you 2 chibokos. The child understands the mistake, and you give the 2 chibokos, and then never tell the child, "Go away" after beating. No. Go away means rejection. After beating, hold back the child. Put the child on your laps. And you see, what you did was wrong. That's why I gave you those 2 chibokos. Will you do it again? No. And then show the child love. Meaning, the punishment was not rejection, but it was love. And
So
out of
in
love,
essence,
you
it wasn't
disciplined.
punishment,
Yes.
it was disciplining.
It was disciplining. Harsh criticism. Somebody does a small mistake like this, and then you make it look like a mountain. And you criticize a person as if for you have never made any mistake. You know? Let us give criticism that is equal to the kind of mistake somebody has made. The moment the criticism is overboard,
Yes.
then the child begins to
Blown
feel
beyond
so
the proportion.
demeaned, and then begins to run away from you as a parent. Lack of compassion. No compassion. If you don't show mercy, you know, the moment you show somebody mercy, you see the person will be coming closer to you. Take away mercy, I want to tell you, the listening ear dies a natural death.
Yeah. So all these are ways how we end up
You will
losing
lose,
the
yes.
heart of our children.
What about favoritism? Just go into the house of Jacob. When he showed favoritism to Joseph, the rest of the children hated him, hated Joseph. You know, all children are children. Love them. Receive them the way they are. Hypocrisy. You say this, you do the opposite. You know, you tell the child don't drink, you come home drunk. You tell the child fornication is bad, then you bring a baby who is still crawling and you say this one is also your brother, when they know that their mother has not given birth. Let me tell you the other one, how you can lose the heart of your child. Mistreat their mother.
Yeah.
The biggest way to communicate to the children that you love them as a man is to love their mother. Mistreat their mother, it is a sentence.
Yes.
Towards their heart towards you. Their heart towards you. They will know you don't love them. Because the parents loving each other is a sense of defense and protection to the children.
Okay.
Okay? To the children. Okay? And a realistic expectation. You know? Your child goes and works and scores 80%. You say, why didn't you get 100%?
Where is the 20? The remaining 20?
The 20? You know?
It actually happened to my friend. Yes. He got 84 in mathematics in primary school. And the dad had told him that if he becomes the best in any subject, he would buy for him a big cake. So this young man became the best in mathematics with 84%. So he brings home the report, swinging it in the air, tells daddy, I was the best in mathematics. So the dad looks at him, gets the report, looks at it, keeps quiet. In the evening, he brings the cake that he promised, puts it on the table, and they cut it and celebrate. And while the young man was eating it, the father looked at him and said, so my son, you got 84. Where is the 16?
Where is the 16? Exactly. So in other words,
where is the 16?
Once the child knows, I can never satisfy my father, I can never satisfy my parent, he gives up.
And you can imagine asking you for the 16 when the cake is in your mouth, which was supposed to be a celebration.
So it is very easy to lose the heart.
I really can see. Yeah. So you will lose the heart of your child if you're absent from his life, if you're not present, if you are only giving them presents without giving him presence.
And that is bribery.
Indeed.
Corruption.
When you respond when angry, because there you will lose your emotional stability and therefore kill this young man or young woman. You also lose the heart of your child if you give them unjust discipline, when you give them harsh criticism, when you lack compassion, when you are hypocritical, you are a signpost parent. You only show where to go, but you never reach there. When you show favoritism among the children, and even when you mistreat their mother.
Exactly.
These are the things that we have done again and again, many times as fathers.
And that is why the children will easily listen to their friends other than to you. Do you know why? The moment somebody, the child believes that this person loves me, more, he will always offer his
listen to that one, regardless of who they are. So whether it is their father or their mother or their neighbor or the enemy of the family, as long as they give them attention, they will also share with them and trust them.
Whoever has the heart of your child has his ear.
Yeah. That's quite scary, because I think the TVs have the hearts of most of the children in our homes.
Exactly.
Now, what can one do to regain the heart of their child? I realize we just have a few minutes to wrap up the program. So what can one do to regain the heart of their child?
Number one, attention. Pay attention.
Pay attention.
Give attention to your child. Those are the 3 A's which I want to give you. Attention. The other one is affirmation. Even when Jesus was being baptized, the Lord said, this is my son with whom I am well pleased.
Listen to him.
Affirmation. Listen to him. Affection is very critical. A young man who has received affection from the father, who have received affection from the father, they are always bolder.
Yes. More courageous.
They are stronger. And they are always kind. They are kind. A girl who has received affection from their father, they are always radiant, less desperate for boyfriends, and more careful on whom to marry.
Yes. They don't go with whoever is available. Their standard of life is higher.
Is higher.
Yes.
You don't measure up.
Because they have a good role model in the home called the dad. The standard of a man
in their lives is their dad who loves them, and they don't doubt about that. And it is very critical. Let me tell you, Proverbs 23:26 says, my son, give me your heart, and let your eyes delight in my ways. Three things. Three things. Number one, he's saying, give me your heart. Very important. Number two, with your eyes, watch what I do.
Yeah.
Okay? You will see that my heart and my actions are in agreement. So when you give me your heart and you watch what I do, and you allow what Paul said, that do what I do,
follow
and
me
the
as
Lord
I follow
will
Christ.
Bless you.
Yes.
Follow me as I follow Christ. So Solomon says, give me your heart and let your eyes delight in my ways. Maybe in the wrap-up, that's when I will give you the Malachi.
Okay,
But
so what can one do to regain the heart of their child? Three things: attention, affirmation, and affection.
Exactly.
Give them, pay attention to your child. Number two, affirm them. In other words, speak to them positive words that encourage them, that strengthen them, that build their confidence, that buttress their esteem. And then show them affection. Give them love. Nurture them with love.
They will trust you, and the instruction you give them, they will listen. The moment the child does not believe that you love him, he will walk away from your truth.
Attention, affection, affirmation.
Yes.
So, briefly, what is the role, therefore, of a good marriage in effective parenting?
Let me tell you, parenting is joint effort.
Yes.
Mommy, daddy, we must work together. We cannot afford to contradict ourselves. We must have one vision. We must have one destination to take our children, and we work together.
One vision and one destination.
Yes.
Wow.
Contradict each other, the children will
the
know.
parenting will go wrong.
Yes, they will know.
I remember listening to the late Dr. Myers Monroe, and he talked about that issue you've just said, the issue of vision in a family. And he said there needs to be one vision in the home that everybody is pursuing, looking towards achieving. And so he said, when you hear that there was a divorce in a home, in a marriage, that the word divorce comes from the same root word for division.
Yes.
You have been divided. When you divorce, you have been divided.
Divided.
Okay?
And
divided, he said, divided, the noun is division. Division is actually division. When you say mono something, monocotyledonous, mono means one. Bi or die means two. When you say tri, tri, three, quadru, four, and so on and so forth. So, divorce is division, and division is division, meaning two visions. So, when there are two visions in the home, already there is a background for crashing, for divorce, and that's how it affects the parenting, like you rightly put it. So that means if I'm to parent the heart of my child, one of the things I have to do is to work on my marriage.
Yeah, exactly.
Because without a good environment of the marriage, then there won't be a good climate for parenting.
It is basically trying to eat your nice food on a plate which is full of poo-poo. I'm
glad you used that word because probably some people have not understood it. Because it's... I can't imagine
when the two of you are not together and then you say that you are succeeding.
Now, here is quite a challenge as we come to the close of this in the next 4 minutes. You find that I did not know these things that you are now sharing. Even my heart was not parented, myself. Now I have grown up to be a father. So I don't even know these things of parenting the heart of a child because myself, my own heart, was never parented. Wounded terribly.
Yes.
In fact, 2 weeks ago, I hosted somebody here and our topic was healing father wounds. Maybe I have Father wounds. Personally, my father died when I was 12 years of age. I was in primary school, first day of the first term in primary 7. And the rest of what followed is another story. It's a great content for a blockbuster movie that can be an action movie. You know?
Yes.
So now here I am. I have my adult children because I missed their childhood. I missed parenting their heart as they were growing up because I didn't know any better. Here is my question. What can I now do to my adult children whose heart I never parented when they were much younger? Now they are 25. Now they are 30.
Now they are 30.
I am 60. I am 72.
Even at 25, even at 30, we can still make a step to reach out to them and show them love. It is never too late to show love. Even a person who is on the death row, you can still say, I love you, my son. And you will feel it, and you will see the person cry to feel that love. We must get onto our knees and ask God to give us the courage, and we move forward and do what is right. We can unlearn the bad things, and we become the chain breaker as fathers. We can become a chain breaker.
Yes.
And we start a new generation.
I hear you. So now, that means I can start from wherever I am.
Exactly.
Do whatever I can.
Whatever you can. So
to manage whatever will be possible.
At least you will be able to redeem the 1 out of 100.
And even if you start now and you die in a week after now, they will say in his last week, he looked his son in his eyes and said, I love you.
I love you.
And there would be something positive.
Yes. That's why they even on the burial they say the man got saved. You know, when he was about to die. So in other words, it's already a testimony.
Yes.
They will say when he was about to die, he called us and he said, my children, I am sorry where I hurt you.
Now that we realize it is possible to miss out a whole childhood of that child and we don't parent their hearts and we just wait later and we are trying to redeem, we still make a small step. It's never too late to show love. We are showing love 2 days to death. What would be, in less than a minute, what would be your loving advice or caution to the younger fathers who still have all the time on earth, hoping God will protect them for long enough to parent their children?
I will give them Malachi chapter 4 verse 6. He says, in the last days, that the Lord will send a prophet. That is verse 5. But verse 6, that prophet, he will return the hearts of the parents to their children and the hearts of the children to their parents, or else I will come and strike the land with a total destruction. In other words, what you need to do now is to know, if you don't want your generation, the future generation, to be destroyed with a curse, with a total destruction, you must do 2 things. One, as a parent, see that your heart is out there to your children.
Turn your heart to your children.
Make sure that the heart of your children are towards you. When this is done, then the blessing of God comes. Or else destruction awaits.
So we should not wait for later, we should begin now as fathers.
Begin yesterday.
Now, how about this father? You know, all these are coming to my mind, these scenarios that are happening all around us. How about this very busy professional man? This father who is out there in the marketplace, changing the world, very busy. How can he effectively do all this that you've talked about? He's very busy. He's looking for finances to look after the family, looking for school fees. The man is busy. How can he parent his children's heart, like you say?
Parenting is not for people who are redundant. It is for people who are determined to parent. Even in the busy schedules, you must create time. When you are on the laptop and your child comes and wants to ask you something,
you pause.
Close the laptop, make it face down, and listen to the child. The child needs like 2 minutes.
Yes.
And then you give the response. When the child goes, you open your laptop and you still work. But give the child divided attention, he will go and he will never come back. Simple things.
Yeah.
Reach home, get your phone off, and talk to your children. Have a game with them. These people here, they know. They would come with a ball and try to trick you around and see. When you kick it, then tomorrow they will come and say, Daddy, let's go and kick the ball. And it becomes the order of the day.
Yes. And through that, you're connecting with their heart.
Yeah.
Wow. Parting shots. Straight into the camera and speak to the people who have been listening to us, especially that man who feels convinced that he needs to go forward and parent the heart of his child. Speak into his life for just about 10 seconds.
Let me speak into this by giving you an example. This young couple, the husband and the wife, they were all busy. Their daughter comes to ask the daddy sends the daughter to the mother was also on the deadline, the mother gives her money to go and buy chocolate. And when the girl goes to the shop, the same boy who was pestering her for sex meets now the neighbor and says, what do I do? This man wants to sleep with me. And the neighbor says, touch your breasts, touch your chest. And says, what do you feel? And the girl said, I feel breasts. Then the neighbor told her, you are now old. Go and do what the boy wants.
Oh, no.
And the girl went and slept with the boy. That was around 1991. 1995, HIV/AIDS was still tough. And when she was busy diarrheating and vomiting on the deathbed, now the parents came. And the girl told them, I remember coming to you, finding you in your respective reading rooms. You gave me no time. Now that I am dying, you have time for me. What is its use? And he said, this man was wanted to sleep with me. I came to you for advice. You gave me money to go and buy chocolate. No one listened to me. And so told me to go and sleep with him, and he gave me HIV/AIDS. Now I am dying. You have time for me. May you turn around and get time for your children.
Thank you. Yes, turn around and have time for your children. We have talked about parenting the heart of a child. We have realized that it's not enough to give our children the knowledge, the information. It's not enough to equip them with the so-called life skills, survival skills, self-defense skills, all manner of skills. It's important to equip them with values and attitudes around which their life will rotate. Parenting the heart of your child, like we have seen, will require that you give your presence before you give your presents. It will require an important realization that what matters is not what you live for your children, but what you live in your children. It will therefore require that you think about those 3 A's that our brother and guest, Mr. Jimrex Byamugisha, has talked about. You pay attention to your children. You give them affirmation, speak positively into their life, and give them affection. Show them love. Whoever shows your children love will conquer their heart and determine their direction, and therefore becomes the determining factor for their destiny. Remember that statement that he said just a few minutes ago, that parenting is not for people who are redundant. It is for people who are determined. May we go and be the determined parents who, regardless of our being busy, will give attention, affirmation, and affection to our children. This has been the Inspired Family Leader Program with Samuel Ebakutana, your host. Until next time, live, love, and lead. When you live, live exemplarily. When you love, love authentically. When you lead, lead relationally. Because when you live exemplarily, you impact. When you love authentically, you connect. And when you lead relationally, you transform. That's why we are here. See you next time.